Today I'm going to be explaining my story of what I did with Olive Garden's annual all access pasta pass. That's right. I was one of the lucky few to be able to attain one of these passes for free unlimited pasta for an entire year. So, if you're not familiar with this, let me explain. I just think it's a fun story. So, a few years ago, I heard about this thing from my mom. And basically, what Olive Garden is, if you don't know, it is a very popular um, chain Italian restaurant. They have more kind of Americanized Italian food, but it's very, very popular, and I would call it like mid-tier pricing. And so these chains are all over the US, and obviously Post Malone loves the place. He's always talking about it. He filmed a video with Jimmy Fallon at Olive Garden. Anyhow, I'd never been to Olive Garden before. It was outside of my budget growing up, but it seemed very intriguing. Apparently, what really caught my eye was this article that my mom sent about how they will do this exclusive deal once a year where they'll open it up and to the public. And the first, usually 500, 1,000 people to buy this pasta pass would be able to use it as often as they wanted for the allocated period of time to get unlimited pasta. So if you do the math, the price of the pass is much, much less than it would be to buy all of those pastas individually. It was just pure, simple mathematics. And so they recently released a new version. The standard version was for 1 month. Now they had a 1 year version, and this one was in even smaller supply. So usually these things sell out in a couple minutes, sometimes in seconds. And the first year I tried to do it, I failed. I had my computer ready, I had the autocomplete Chrome extension ready, and I was 20 minutes early. Everything was set up and ready, and then things kind of got screwy. I got bored of waiting. I watched a YouTube video. By the time I realized, oh shoot, I've been watching this video too long, it was too late. I think I was 3 or 4 minutes past, and by then it was already game over. You could tell my fate was sealed. You could tell everything already said sold out. And that was that. I was frustrated, but I told myself, this isn't the end. Next year I'm going to try again. So the next year came around, and this time I was ready once again. This time I remembered from my previous year's mistake. So I didn't watch a YouTube video. I got there and I was ready. I was zoned in. I had the autocomplete credit card locked in, and I was ready to go. And I had a plan of like which one to go for. I told myself, you got to go for that annual one. But if that one sells out, quickly shift over to the monthly one. I even had multiple tabs open. Now, part of me was scared that it wouldn't even work. Part of me was thinking, there's probably people here with bots and stuff, and there's no chance a regular human mortal like me really ever gets one of these. So I was skeptical. But then it happened. And how? Just by pure luck. I just happened to be clicking, and I guess I was one of the first to click, and I bought the pass. It was actually kind of screwy. I clicked the button, which usually grays out very quickly, and it got me to the order page. I was so excited, I filled it out. I hit the button to submit, and then that kept crashing. So I assumed I didn't get it, even though I got to the second page, which usually you only get to if it doesn't sell out. So about 2 weeks later, I still wasn't sure if I bought it or not. I had assumed I'd missed it again. But then in the mail came a little box from Olive Garden, and it had the Olive Garden design on it. And when you opened it up, you had the little card inside with my name on it, and first and last, and a little like pasta pass design on it. And so it was a dream come true. I was so excited because that also meant that I didn't have to waste any money on food for a whole year, right? Well, here's my review in a condensed form of month by month how it went. And you can see the more thorough version on my blog, willyoulaugh.com. I wrote a very thorough journal entry version of this. But initially, the first couple of months, I thought this was something that I would be able to max out. I was a cheap Asian, so I was thinking, oh, I could go 4 or 5 times a week and I'm not going to get sick of this. Even if I do, I'm going to keep going and get the most out of it. Well, I discovered a few things. First, I discovered, hey, pasta gets old. It doesn't matter if you throw on a different sauce, if you throw on a different protein, it's still pasta, man, and you get sick of it pretty fast. Same thing with the salads and the other stuff. At first, I was really, really surprised and happy because if you've never been to Olive Garden, they give you salads for free, and they're these massive salads in massive bowls, and you can put olive oil in there, vinegar, whatever you want, and they have these baskets of breadsticks that are pretty much just straight up Italian bread, but I think they have a little bit of like dusted cheese on them, or garlic or oil, and that is really good as well. But really, that gets really old very quickly. I realized that after a while that the salads only had like 5 ingredients in it, and most of it was just lettuce, and I got kind of sick of that. Plus, all this bread and the salad is just going to fill you up, which means too many carbs that aren't really that tasty, and then you don't have room for the pasta. And so that was the first thing, and slowly but surely, I couldn't even believe it, but my frequency diminished. I was shocked beyond belief because I thought out of anyone out there, based on my track record of being a cheap Asian and really making the most of a budget income, I thought I could really do this for a while. I mean, I've done other stuff like go to McDonald's with all these coupons and apps and really get like a whole meal for like $1. And all sorts of other crazy stuff, like sign up for email newsletters to get all these free entrees for signing up. But it just what it is. And it went from 5 days a week to 4 days a week. And, 3 or 4, 5 months in, I was going maybe 2 or 3 times a week. Some weeks I didn't go at all because I was just so sick of it. I talked to the waiter, and the waiter was just like, yeah, you should like give it a break for like a month or so and then come back, and maybe that'll help. Now, obviously, some people would be like, well, why didn't you just exploit it? Why don't you just keep getting all this pasta, unload it into this giant bag, give it to the homeless, take it home? There's definitely guardrails on this free unlimited pasta pass. For one, and I learned this pretty early on, you get one big plate of pasta with the protein. Every refill comes in a smaller pasta and protein. And if you ask for 2 proteins on the same plate, they're going to charge you extra. You can keep getting unlimited refills for free, but it's 1 protein per pasta. And I found that out the hard way. I was like, what's this bill? Why do I have $8 for this sausage or $4 for this sausage? And they're like, you got 2 proteins. And so that kind of sucked. Another thing is tip. You probably should be tipping them. Everyone tips at these restaurants. So it's not as free as you think. There's like a base level fee of maybe $4 for the tip, depending on how much you tip. And then another thing is I worked out the math, and it's basically you have this static fixed fee that you pay initially. And the more frequently you eat, the more that fee diminishes to the per check-in place. And so that was another thing, and it was something that really affected things because I was like, I got to go more often, but then I couldn't. And then I ultimately resolved towards the end of that year to go maybe 2 times a week. That was all I could stomach, and that still led to a generally affordable price of around $5-ish per time I went. So that was kind of it. I loved a lot of the whole ambiance of the store. You even got these chocolate mints afterwards, and I learned a lot about Olive Garden. I love the chocolate mints, and I would usually eat 1 plate, and then the refill I would either finish it, or most of the time I would eat a little bit of refill and then take that home to go with me. I learned so much about Olive Garden. I realized that most people go there for their birthdays. I would say for a solid like 3 months in a row, almost every time I went, I heard someone singing happy birthday. But then like towards the later months, no one sang it anymore. So it was definitely a seasonal thing. I also learned a lot about the Olive Garden menu, which is so incredible, so immense. There's so many really cool, delicious, robust entrees and dishes beyond the basic pasta that my pass offered. Like the pasta pass, you got like a few sauces, then a few choices of pastas, and then like 3 or 4 proteins. You got a grilled chicken, you got a sausage, and then so on and so forth. Um, and I think another thing I learned was that, man, there's a lot of waiters and waitresses. Sometimes, initially, and maybe it was just my own insecurity, not them, but initially I felt like a couple of the waiters or waitresses seemed kind of unhappy or resentful because I kept coming in with that pass. But then I got a little happy to see that, oh my gosh, each time I come in, it's a different waiter or waitress. So it kind of like eased my anxiety there. Looking back, I don't think they were actually resentful, because I mean, why would they be? I'm a paying customer, I tip. I mean, what's really there to be nervous of? I think initially there's a few times where I didn't know I had to tip or I should tip, and so maybe that rubbed some people the wrong way. But the ones that were feeling bad, I don't know if they ever showed it. Like no one really straight up came up to me and they were like, "You're an ass, you don't tip," or anything like that. In fact, I think the ones that seemed a little resentful, I tipped them. Maybe they're just having an off day. It was just kind of their expressions, and so who knows. I think if anyone were to go through this experience, they would experience something similar very quickly. There's definitely guardrails. I can't just bring in people and then keep shoving the food to them. That would become pretty obvious pretty soon, and it just didn't seem like an ethical thing for me to do. Like it'd be pretty clear to the waiter that I was exploiting that person, or just shoveling plates and plates of food to that other person, and that just wouldn't be fair in my mind. And so for my own moral ethics, I didn't think I wanted to do that. Now, maybe I could have and should have done it at least once just for the fun of it, but you never know. I can always try again next year. Now, if I also resolved that after the year finished, I told myself, if I were to do it again, I'm going to get the monthly, not the annual. And you might be like, why? The annual is so epic for a full year unlimited pasta. Really, it gets old pretty quickly. And I would say if they were to ever do a really epic one, I think if they opened it up so that you could order anything on the menu, that would be crazy, crazy. Obviously, they couldn't or maybe shouldn't, because, I mean, compared to the limited choices I got with the Pasta Pass, the actual menu is epic. I mean, there's like 50, 60 dishes on there. Some of them very articulately built. I mean, you get like lasagna with shrimp on it and all sorts of crazy dishes. So and it's seasonal too. They shift every year, every season to different things, even different seasonal cocktails and drinks. So like an all access, all access drink and entree thing, that would be epic. I mean, even if you had to pay 1,000 or 10,000 for it, I mean, some people could definitely make that back and have a ball and never get potentially sick of the menu. I don't know. Maybe they still would, but it would take a lot longer. I would say I definitely developed a love for certain foods that I never really got a chance to. You also got a free choice of soup with your Pasta Pass, and I tried out the 4 soups, and like 2 of them were just like disgusting to me. There was one that was some type of tomato thing, and it just was, stinky. So I didn't try those out for most of my time, but I did sometimes go back to them when I just got bored of the 2 that I liked. Now, the one I really, really liked, and it actually has brought me back to Olive Garden after the pass was done, but the Zuppa Toscana, delectable. Probably not too healthy for you, but something about that. They make it from scratch, fresh every day there, and there's a certain consistency to it, a certain taste. I mean, sometimes it was a little bit more watery or too hot or maybe too much of a certain amount, but it was so good. Usually you had potatoes, you had kale in there, and you had little bits of what seemed to be sausage or meat in there. And when you drink it from the soup, it was so rich and tasteful. It was delicious, man. Some of those winter nights when I went there, so incredible. I think if I were to do it again, not much would change. Maybe I would have invited one or two of my friends out and maybe explored the pass, or maybe not, and just let them know I had the pass and we would have had a good time. But I don't know. I just didn't think about that as a possibility, and I kept it to myself, which probably I shouldn't have as much. And then, I don't think I would have changed anything. I will say that if you ever get the pass, one of the downsides is the shrimp protein choice. It's the fried shrimp, which I didn't really like. It's the breaded shrimp, and that got old very fast. It kind of, it just tastes like mediocre breaded shrimp and the small kind, not the jumbo kind. And so I got really sick of that. I would have chosen shrimp a lot more if it was just the regular shrimp that wasn't breaded. But I did develop a few little tactics every now and then. I didn't really use them often because, again, I wanted to be fair. But sometimes if you got a different waiter or you went to a different restaurant in the area that was still Olive Garden, and you asked for the shrimp, sometimes the waiter doesn't know any better and they'll get you the regular shrimp. But sometimes, that'll come out on your bill as a extra charge, which, sucks, but you have to pay it. I would say I love the experience, and I think it's not only a marketing thing, but it's just something that'll definitely get me to return to Olive Garden. And I would say bread and salad, overrated. Zuppa Toscana soup, underrated. Pasta, great stuff, just not in excessive abundance. The grilled chicken, I mean, Olive Garden's grilled chicken, that's still something I am trying to get a good recipe of. There's something they do with that grilled chicken. They put some type of melted garlic butter seasoning on it that just makes it taste so good. And, although it's at its core so simple, you have a few basic pastas that you could choose from, a few sauces that you could probably get from the grocery store, and a few proteins you could probably make yourself. Something about that, something about how they do it, it was just delectable. And I had so many good experiences there, peaceful experiences there. And it was a unique, although kind of in a way boring, because at the end of the day I'm just going to Olive Garden, but in my mind, interesting and memorable year just because of that pass. Because man, was it unique. I mean, a lot of the waiters, they seem to be pretty impressed by it. Not to an extent, like some of them would just be like, whoa, you got that. But it was pretty cool, to say the least. I would say there was only 2 or 3 that really asked me about it and really got excited. But I mean, that was really fun as well. They were like, whoa, you got this thing. Man, it must have been so hard. Most of them are just like, whoa, you got this thing, cool. I'll go swipe it. But that's that. And yeah, it is bound to your name. I know there's some people who buy it and immediately resell it, because I saw that immediately on eBay when they were doing it. And what they did was they cross out their name on it and then sell the pasta pass with the name crossed out, which, I mean, they scratch it off with like a knife or something. And I don't know if that really works. I mean, can you even still use it? I mean, I suppose you can, because they still sell. And they usually sell for like 3 or 4 times the price you buy it for. But I figured I could have this memorable experience, or you can make a few $100, and the choice was clear. I'm going to use it for myself. And so it was great. Obviously there's definitely some ideas that could make it better. Like, Think about it. All access, all menu pass for any item on the menu and any drink. That would just be mind blowing. But yeah, that's my story with the Olive Garden annual pass. And good luck to you. They're definitely going to do it again, or some other store or restaurant may try it again, and you may just be that lucky person. Use my tips, and perhaps you might have an even better experience than I did. I mean, I still have some good fond memories of some of those times where it was just so serene. You almost glide into this restaurant, and they know you, they seat you, and you go on a quiet night, weekday night, and no one's really there bothering you. You sit down in your booth, you have a good time, you leave, you pop on a good audiobook, and it's a fun time. But thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. See ya.